Well, hey guys, welcome to my channel and welcome to my stream. Welcome to another chapter working on that guy right there. That's our A-10 Thunderbolt 2 by Great Wall Hobbies. 1/48 scale. We'll get into it here and we'll get that intro going and we'll get started, okay? Alright guys, we are back and we're going to continue this. Last time we did a whole bunch of stuff with our wings, and I actually I stopped it because I had to clamp the pods down on the wings and leave that to dry. Then we got the edge of the wings, the tips glued on there, and there was a little bit of a gap in between the two on the upper side of the wing, or top side, whatever you'd like to call it. And that's what we got here. So I did put a little bit of the Vallejo putty in between them there. I can actually feel a little bit of a ridge, a little bit of a step. So I'll sand that down, get that smooth later on. We'll worry about all that later. Yeah, I got it on this side too. Just a little bit of a step there. But that's no big deal. That's quite fine. Yeah, so I put a little bit of Vallejo putty. If you want to know, it's this one, the Vallejo plastic putty. This is water-based, and yeah, I use this all the time because it does, when it cures, it does shrink a little bit, okay? So the reason why I like that, I actually like that quality in this, because when I want to keep a panel line, but I don't want a hole, like there's a gap or something, this will fill that gap, but when it dries, because it shrinks, it retains, I get to retain that kind of a little groove of the panel line, and that's why I like this stuff. If you don't want something to shrink, then yeah, there's other choices. Most putty shrinks when it dries, but anyway, we're not. This is not about putty. I'm not talking about putty today. Anyway, so that's that. So I've got to find my end tree and put our little rods or whatever that are going to go inside our landing gear pods. So let's change the camera, I'll find my end tree, and we'll get started on this, okay? Alright, so first off, we gotta change the glasses. Otherwise, I'm constantly lifting them up on my head. So we gotta find N15 and 16. Oh, sorry, they're on the tree here. N15 and 16 that are gonna drop down in there, okay? So, let's get this out of here. I'm gonna need my knife. There we go. So, N15 and 16. Let's find these guys. Entry. That's O-R-N. Here we go. N15 and 16. And those are 10, 11, 15, 16 right here. So we'll do 16 first. That goes on this side. So be careful how you take this off of here. You want to retain your little bracket things. Flip this like that, just so I can grab it. Okay. So there is 16 right there. Let's put that there. Now, the way this is supposed to go in goes like this. Just hold on to it with my tweezers. And unfortunately, the angle that they're showing here, they don't really show exactly how it goes in, but they zoom in over here and they show it sitting there with the block side sitting against the wall. I noticed on the inner channel there is a little, if we can get the right angle and get in there, you can see right in, where am I here? Right there. There's a little block right there, right by the tip of my tweezers, underneath it now, right there, okay? And there's one on this side too, on the inner side. Get this on a right angle that you can see. Also right there, okay, on the inner walls. And I believe that's where it's supposed to line up, because they don't really show they just kind of show it sitting behind they show a groove here in the diagram, but on the actual part there is no groove. It's just a flat surface. But there is that groove right there, right? So I think that's where it's supposed to go. But then again, see, they show this on the inner wall. I'm not sure exactly how this is supposed to go in. I thought it was supposed to go across like this, but the more I'm looking at it, it's going down like this on that wall, and it's on the inner wall. You know, I was confident in how this was supposed to go together. I believe maybe it's supposed to go like that. So I have a new theory on how this is supposed to go in there. I believe that little slot that's right there is where the back side of that is supposed to go in. There's kind of a little bump, a little ridge on that, and it looks like that's where it's supposed to go. So let's just try this. I'm going to get some glue. I'm going to put some glue just on the back of that there. That. And we'll kind of put that in there. This. And line that up. And it does fit in there. It fits in that little slot. Fits pretty good, actually. Now, would I like it to? So there's my spot. That's about as lined up as I can get. So it makes it look like there's a bit of some kind of linkage in there. Get that like that, okay? I think that's how that's supposed to go. If that actually interferes with anything, then obviously it's wrong, but I guess I'll have to wait to find that out. So I do have only glue on that one spot, so I'm going to get in there with a little bit extra thin, so it's actually held in two places. Down in there, okay. Alright, so let's flip over to this side and get N15 off of the sprue. There we go. And we'll do the same treatment. Put glue on this side. Actually, I'm going to turn it around. So I can put it in like this. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this. I'll move the plane. And get it in there. Put her down kind of in its spot. This one's having a little bit of a harder time getting into that channel properly. I want to hold it with my finger, but I can't. Every time I get it so it's kind of tight on the wall, it kind of moves it out. That's about as good as I can get it like that. It actually is. Now that I get in there, I can see there's a little bit of a channel that it's supposed to slot into onto the wall, on this back wall here. That would line it up perfectly. It lined up on this side kind of on its own, but this side not so much. So let's back this off. There we go. Yeah. That's how it goes. That's how you do it. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to show you guys where it's actually supposed to connect on the inside. Okay, now that I've done this, I can show you. Okay, so if we go back to where we're putting in the walls on here, let's go back to that part. It's this wall here and this wall here. Okay, this little channel right here is where the little end connects. It's right in there. You can't see it on this side, but it's right here. Okay, right in that little groove. That little groove there, it kind of tucks up. It tucks up underneath when you get into this section here. So this end of it tucks up underneath, on the right underneath that part there. It's right there. It tucks up underneath there. Okay, right underneath there is where it goes. All right, so that's it. That's how it's done. Okay, so with those installed, that's done for steps 17 and 18. And I just tried to dump my glue. See, that's why it's good. This glue, fortunately, is pretty thick and almost empty. So, yeah, I got lucky there. All right, flip our page over. It looks like we're putting a couple little tidbits. Oh, we've got photo etch. Oh, ho, ho, look at that. We got PE that's supposed to go into those slots that I filled in. Remember I mentioned that there's two little open slots there that I filled in. I filled it in with the Vallejo putty there and there. And I mentioned, it looks like there's two on the same side on both wings. Well, apparently you're supposed to take PE and bend it over and put them on there. That's funny. That is PE 1 and 2. That's these two guys. We're supposed to fold those in half. That's really interesting. Now, I know from my own personal history, if I glue these on now, during the process of sanding and everything like that and installing things, I'm going to wind up ripping those off. So those are not going on right now. We're going to work on actual plastic parts. A-30 are going to go on these two little ridges here. So we've got to find our A tree. That's obviously our biggest tree is the A tree. Where is our A tree? This, I believe, is A. Yes. So we need A30 times 2. That's these two guys here. All right. We need those, and they show us how they're supposed to sit. And then we need A15, A15 and O12. Very different. 15's over here on this corner. I'm gonna take these off of the sprues like you would a Gundam and leave big nubs on them. And then we need O. Where's, I'm gonna get my O face here. O12, this guy here. There we go. Okay. It'll be nice and easy to distinguish these two because one's primered and one's not. Okay. So our A30s. Need a little cleanup here. Something I'm just recently getting into is a little branch off of this hobby, 3D printing. I decided to dip my toes in the 3D printing world, and well, when I say dip my toes, well, I went and bought myself a 3D printer. I'm currently doing my first print. It is printing right now. Doing the test print to see if all my settings are correct. And yeah. Trying that out to see if I can save myself a bunch of money by printing my own stuff instead of relying on these online vendors. We will see. I have already noticed, just in trying to find the 3D files of things, that alone can be a bit of a challenge. If you're wondering what printer I got, well, after doing some research, I went with an Elegoo 4K Saturn 4 Ultra. 12K, not the 16K. I didn't think, from the reviews I saw, visually you're not going to be able to tell the difference between the 12K and the 14K. And the heated VAT on the 16K is not that big of a selling point for me because it's fairly warm. I don't plan on printing a whole bunch of stuff in the winter. So it looks like A30, if we go look at our blown up pictures here, it looks like they go, let's use my tweezers here. It looks like they go right on this little kind of a ledge right there. When we look at the groove that are forward flaps, or whatever you want to call these things that are going to go in there, there's a little bit of a step and then an extra little groove right there. Okay, same on this side, a little step right here and then an extra groove, and that's where this is going to go in. So I just got to make sure that I haven't got some nasty putty that's going to interfere with it when I try to install it. I think I got that cleaned up good enough in there that it's not going to be an issue. Let's see if it'll sit there on its own. Yeah, okay. Glue. There's one. I will say in my research, if you guys are wondering why did I go with the Saturn or why did I go with an Elegoo, well, I saw enough good reviews on it that made it seem like a pretty good choice. Simple. Support from Elegoo seems to be pretty good. This one I'm gonna have to do this. Yeah, it seems like Elegoo support, if you do have problems, they seem to be pretty good. Their product seems to be fairly solid. So yeah, I went with Elegoo. I will say though, you watch enough reviews on 3D printers, you can easily convince yourself into buying a particular one and convince yourself it's not worth it in the same day, and you could find enough good and bad reviews on just about every one. Okay, I want this to be held in place when I glue it. And that's the problem. Where'd it go? There it is. This has enough movement on it that I can basically make a step on it if I want, or I can have it flush. That's okay though. So there's the A-15 installed. I thought this was an A-10. No, yeah, funny. Okay, now our O face, O12. In similar fashion, you can, these don't really like slot in or snap in or anything like that, so you just have to line it up so that it's, all your lines are smooth, and then you're good to go. I see I have a little bit of a gap here. I'm gonna have to fill that in. I'm gonna let my glue cure first, and then I'll fill that gap in there. And it looks like I got a little bit of one here too. It's just a little tiny gap, but it's a gap that should not be there. So I'll do that later. Okay, so that's it for this. And with this done, we're going to let this sit and cure and dry, because we're going to move on to a whole different section, a whole different thing. I want to make sure I don't accidentally sit it down on these. Okay, whole nother thing. We're going to start working on, looks like intake fans, which means we're moving on to our M trees. So I do have to paint the cone on this dark ghost gray. Let me get my M trees out here. Here's the 2 M trees out of the kit, okay? Now, I've already started doing a little bit of painting on there. I've painted this. You're supposed to paint these both the same dark iron, but I don't like that because what I like to do is maybe have a slight variance in the tone. So I did light gunmetal, and I did this one in gunmetal, and this one's in light gunmetal. And it's a very, very subtle difference, but it is a difference. I don't think the camera's going to be able to show you guys the actual difference in the tone. But if I grab my light gunmetal and my regular gunmetal, shake this up a little bit, you can see it's a slight difference, right, between the light gunmetal and regular gunmetal. So, yeah. Anyway, the very cone on here is supposed to be dark ghost gray. So I'm just going to quickly paint this up, paint that cone. I don't have one of my little stainless steel balls in here. It shows you how much I use this. This actually looks brand new, like I haven't even used it. So, bing. You notice you didn't even hear it hit the bottom of the jar? That's how thick the pigment is. We'll get this shaken up properly. There we go, now you really hear it shaking in there. Okay, grab a brush. This works. I'm just going to do the cone on it, and that's it. That's all we need. Okay, that's good enough for a first coat. We'll let that dry for a minute. Fortunately to me, it paints dry nice and quick. Let's go around each little facet. Okay, there we go. That's good enough for my first coat. Now, one thing I don't know for sure, maybe they want the whole cone painted and not just the very tip. That is possible, but I think that's good enough. It's a detail that's very subtle and it's light, so I think good enough. There we go. Okay. With that, we can do our next one. Here we go. Just making sure we got it covered. Okay, so we'll let that dry for a sec while I clean off my brush. All right. Okay, so let's grab some parts off of this. We need M1, very important piece, M number 1, which is this guy here. Okay. M1 seems to be undergated. Then we're going to take M10, which is this guy here, and I'm actually going to, while I'm doing this center section doesn't need any paint, so I'm going to just kind of scrape this off now here. I did kind of put it on a little thick when I was painting this because getting that different shade was a little bit difficult. So we have to go around and trim all of these fins off. Times like this, you know, when I was a kid, I never used any nippers to get my parts off the sprues. I always used an X-Acto knife. And I used to literally just cut them. There we go. And then we got to take M7 off of here and do the same thing. Get all these little fins. You know, as a kid, without nippers, I used to kind of just hack at the parts with the X-Acto knife to get them off the sprues. And if I didn't do that, I would literally just twist them off. And now, I can't imagine doing that. When I say twist them off, I mean something like bend and bend and bend and get that off until it starts to break loose, and then just spin or rotate it. Like, for example, these just twist them, just go whoop and twist them until they come loose. Yeah, barbaric, I know. Okay, so these two go together. So you can do this, you can have them all, have your fan. The fan blades won't line up. You can't get them separate. It doesn't go together. They're not supposed to go like this. Okay? They're not supposed to line up. They're supposed to go in between. It kind of notches itself in between like that. Okay? So, I'm going to take some of this glue. And I'll go on the inner lip here. In around here. This is the side that's really not going to be seen. And we will put those together. Just like that. Then it goes on here. But I got to clean up my nubs here. They undergated this, so I got to clean these sides up. So then it goes, our little circle goes in the middle and drops down in there. Now if you've done your job right, that should fit in there perfect. It's kind of, get out of there now. There. I gotta put some glue on the center there. In here. Just make sure it's pressed down on there. And that ought to do it. And that's one. Okay. Alternatively, you can put some extra thin on this side. You can see where it's, you can see my glue sticking through there. Okay. So that's that one. Let's do the other one. Oh, gotta scrape this off here. My streaming software is telling me I got high CPU usage for some reason. I don't know why. I guess that means I'm not streaming at 30, what is it, 30 bits per second or whatever. I forget what they use for the streaming. Algorithms or whatever. Bing, those two are out. Okay, let's see if I can just do this like this. Bing. 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 And bing. All right. That one's ready. These got to go together. Glue on the inside here. And then these slot together nicely. Yes. Okay. Glue on the inside here. Drop that in. Press it down. There we go. There we go. We're in. Just like that. Okay. So, or two, I think these are the intakes. 2 intakes are done. Let's just clean that off. Flip our page. And we're going to start doing some assembly on the actual stuff. So M3 and M4 go together. There's 3 and 4. And we're going to need M2 and M5, basically taking everything off this guy. There's 5, and then we need 2. Okay. These were also undergated. The undergating is nice in that you don't have to worry about shaving down the nub on a visual edge. The drawback is you have to do it on the side that actually connects to the other piece, which means this has to be smooth also. So if you're not careful and you dig too deep, you can actually make it so it's not straight and flat. That goes together nicely. There we go. Okay, that's done. Now this guy, he's nicely undergated and it's on a very thin edge. So I'm just going to do this. Make sure that's smooth. Okay. This guy also undergated. Everything's undergated. Not quite. This isn't. I think this edge is going to go inside, and so you're not going to see it. And that's why they didn't bother. So, we need to get this lined up properly. So, we have the groove at the top, which means this little slot goes at the bottom. See how they have that oriented? And it goes with the cone facing in and lining up like this. The question is, how far in is that supposed to go? It looks like it goes against this little ridge in here. And they have this little peg on the inside there. See that there? That's supposed to line up with this little notch. Okay? So you get that lined up, then you know you've got this sitting in there properly. I can press that in there and not really even need any glue. It's an unfortunate thing that they put that detail there, but you can't really see it. They don't have any color callouts to what color it should be or anything like that. So, yeah. Whether you're supposed to paint it or not, I don't know. So I've got that glued in, so that's done. M2 and M5 are in their home. So M2 and M5, they're going to go now on the back of this with the slot facing this, like this. Just like so. And then we got to grab M6 to put on the front of this. M6 has some funky little stuff on it. What I'm going to do for you guys, I'm just going to assemble one engine. I'll do the other engine. Excuse me, I'll do the other engine off camera, so that we can move on to something else, because you're doing the same thing twice and you guys don't need to watch me do it twice. Undergated all the way around on this. Be careful how you hold this so you don't bend or damage or otherwise wreck the little arms that are sticking out on this thing. course, I got one right here by this peg. Okay. So this guy needs to do a little cleanup. Even though they undergated, it's still kind of on the edge. Okay. So we got a little tab that's supposed to go in that little slot, and it fits perfect. So I'll just hold it. Get some glue on there. All the way around. All right. There's that. Okay. And then we put our big engine, our big intake on here. We got a little tab and a little slot, so we can make sure that's lined up. And that's going to go like this. And that's pretty cool. We got that detail of it being held on there. And this really is just the inner part of the engine. Okay, so I'm going to put some glue around the edge in there. Just on our inner edge. Let's get this lined up. There we go. So I'm going to kind of hold it while I put some glue on these little guys. Just to help with a little bit of structural holding. Structural. There we go. And there we go. Okay. There's our inside of our engine there. Okay. So let's hide these little guys. Hide them. Let's get rid of them. In the garbage they go. With that done, we move down to step 20 and we can put our outer shells on. Now we move on to our eye tree. So let's find our eye. My eye tree is all nicely primered, so we need eye 10 and 23. Here's 10. Okay, and then we need 23. Right, that's 21, 22. I need 23. Oh, that's not 21, 20. 23, 24. Here we go. All right. So once we got those, we're also going to need I2. Wow, it's 3 pieces to go on this thing. So let's get that one there. That. And that. That. Wow, okay. So we'll start with these two, clean these up. It's nice there's no nub on that edge. But we've got these nubs. This edge. Okay, and this one, nub right there. Alright, so these two I want this in this position, and this guy goes up top here. Just trying to figure out how it's supposed to orient. This guy actually goes down on the bottom. Not sure. If this is supposed to go like this, how this is supposed to actually go in there. These go together like this, and this guy just kind of sits in there like this. Or this is a little confusing to me. Exactly how is this guy supposed to sit in here? Does he sit like this? And then this goes on? I know he goes like this. But as far as these tabs, where are these supposed to go? And what relevance do they have? There's nothing for them to line up on the inside. That is a very unfortunate placement of our nubs, is inside these little notches. Anyway, I know that these go together like this. That is simple enough to figure out. Like this. So, put some glue here. That's easy enough to figure out. And I'm going to put a clamp on this. Like that. So I can get this edge glued too. This edge wants to kind of separate, so I need a clamp on that too. And that ought to do the job. Okay. Oh, I just figured out where that's supposed to go. In there like that. Which now makes it hard to get this in there. But it goes right there and lines up like that. Alright, thank you very much. Let's put a clamp back on here. So, two little notches in there, that's where this goes, like that. Glue that in. And because I don't want to have it just only on that spot glued, we're going to glue these two together. I'm going to glue it on the front too. Down in there, down in there. Alright, now our third piece, we want the notch facing forward according to this pit diagram here. We want the notch facing forward. And it's going to go in like this and line up. Try and clean up this little section here a little better. Like I said, it's a little unfortunate they put the nubs right in this little notch, which makes cleaning this out a little hard. Just about done here. Okay. There we go. So, glue along here. Line up this edge first. This is the edge that I want lined up the best. Okay, there we go. Getting that, I can take that off now. There we go. So now, our last two pieces, or technically three, I-12 and H. Suddenly we go to H. I-12. These are a cone. I'm going to guess these are undergated. Yes, they are. Okay, we'll just do this first. I-12, and then I gotta find H1H. H shouldn't be too hard to find, but I think that's this. I believe that's in this little bag. There we go. Get that steeple out. Oh, we've got the nose of the plane here. This is a different nose. We've already put the nose of the plane on. This one's got a lot of really tall rivets. F1. Formula 1. And these should be H. No, these are G. Oh, there's what H1 right there. It's also undergated. There we go. Trying to roll away on me. Let's just get these little edges off. This, my razor file that I love so much. Get these nubs nice and straight and smooth. There we go. H1, we need N6. N has got a little thing we got to put on here in this little spot there. N6, where's my N tree? N6. Din 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 Okay, so it doesn't really want to fit in that little spot it's supposed to go. It wants to flip around on me. And fall off. So I'm going to put some glue in the little spot. Like that. I'm going to pick this back out. Place you there. I'm going to press down. Get into that little slot. Sometimes you just got to use the glue to do its magic and kind of melt the plastic a little bit for it to sit in its little hole properly. There we go. Okay, that's in. Even if not perfect. Okay, there's that one. So this is going to go on the end. And it looks like this channel's on the side. So how this fits, or maybe it's not on the side? No, it lines up with this, like that. Oh, that's a nice fit. Okay, glue that puppy on. Yeah. There we go. One last little spot here. Okay. There we go. That piece is on. One final piece is the front of it. Alright. Are we alright? Yep. Should be good for this. There's a little notch there, a little tab. Looks like that's going to line up right there. You get this in the right spot. That should go in there. Yeah, oh yeah, that's nice. You can see you get a little bit of a gap, a little panel line there. Oh, cheap viewers, yeah, that's great. Using my channel to advertise, are you? That's great, thank you very much. Joke's on you, ain't nobody else watching. Alright guys, that is our completed engine. Just like that. Looking pretty good. Lots and lots of rivet detail on this. It's going to look good when she's all painted and proper. Yeah. Looks good. That's the engine. Okay. Which means I'm going to do the other one off camera. There's no point in you guys sitting there for another 20 minutes watching me assemble another one. Okay. So, this is where I'm going to leave it for today. We got an engine assembled. And I'll work on the other one off camera. And then we will continue. So next time it looks like, yeah, it shows on the next page the assembly of the other side, the other engine. So next time we'll actually put them on the fuselage and then maybe even get the two halves together. Okay, we're going to do that next time. Okay guys, that's where I'm going to leave it for now, leave it for today. I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for the comment, Mr. Advertiser. And yeah, thank you for all the support, guys. And yeah, we'll see you all in the next one.